Go ahead and take the factory key fob and press lock 3 times. And it'll go into remote start mode. And to go ahead and turn off the remote start, repeat the same sequence 3 times. Hey, today we're going to go over the installation of the StartX remote start system for the 2010 through 2017 Toyota Tundra. And what you'll receive in the box here is a small installation and programming guide, some of the connectors blown up in photos that I'll show you during this video. You'll get some various wire ties, an optional hood pin switch with wire that you will not need for this installation. You have your StartX remote start module, and now we'll go over some of the harnesses. First harness here is your ignition harness. This is going to go up the steering column and head back to the Fortin module and be grounded with the black wire. And we have your Bcm connections. Top one goes to the top of the Bcm, middle one here goes to the bottom of the Bcm, and then you have your OBD connection. The smaller connections here go back to the Fortin module, and this longer wire here goes over to the TPMS behind the glove box. Your required tools will be a 10mm metric socket, Phillips flathead screwdriver, and the pry tool that came in. You're going to take the orange pry tool and you're going to go ahead and remove this trim panel. Take that out, set it off to the side. For step number 2, you're going to remove the floor kick panel. Just go ahead and pull it up. Clips out. And then for step 3, you're going to notice one small screw right behind the e-brake pedal. I'll show you here in a second. Small plastic screw, remove that, and you'll get this third trim panel to remove right away. Set that off to the side. And your next step, you're going to be removing this panel. There are 2 10mm bolts, one here and one on the opposite side. You'll remove those 2 bolts and we can remove this trim panel. All right, now that I've removed the 2 10mm bolts, we can go ahead and remove this lower trim panel. You can just go ahead and start to pull it away gently, and you'll notice the clips come out from the top. And you'll start to lower this panel, and you can go ahead and you can let it hang here. There's no need to remove any of the wiring. It's not going to be in your way. You can just let it dangle at this point. All right, so for this next step, you're going to remove the steering column trim. To do that, you're going to need to put the key in the ignition and turn it to the on position. You don't need to start the car. You can go ahead and rotate the wheel to the left to expose the first Phillips screw, and go ahead and take that screw out. And then you're going to go ahead and turn the wheel to the right and do the exact same thing. Take out that screw. And you can go ahead and turn the ignition back off. You will not need that anymore. And you can go ahead and pop apart the steering wheel trim now. It should just come loose now that those 2 screws are removed, and you can get that piece away. All right, so for the first installation, we're going to go over this ignition harness with thick wires. The plug you're interested here is right behind the key column, this white connector. It's easiest if you use a flat blade screwdriver to pop it out the first time. Sometimes it's a little tight in there. Okay, once that connector is removed, go ahead and take the ignition harness and plug it back in, and plug the end back in to the vehicle as it should. Make sure everything clicks and locks in. Okay, and now that it's tight, you'll notice you have some extra wiring. There's a lot of space up in here. You can go ahead and use some of the supplied zip ties to zip this to the loom that goes down the steering column. This end runs back to our StartX module, and you'll notice you have a grounding wire left over. That grounding wire has a ring on it, and that ring can go right around this 10mm bolt here. You'll remove the bolt, add the grounding ring, and put it right back on. All right, so for your next connections, we're gonna go over the 2 BCM connections and the OBD connector. The BCM, you're gonna see two computer modules over here. The BCM is on the right side, so you're interested in the top connector here and the bottom connector as well. So you pull those two connectors out, and you're gonna go ahead and do the exact same thing as you did in the ignition harness. You're gonna plug in the StartX harness to the car, and then the harness back into the BCM module. There's the top one back in, and for the bottom connection, I'll go ahead and plug it in here. Oops. That way. All right, all the way in there, and for the bottom, all the way back in the BCM. Go ahead and tuck those wires away. All right, so for the next connection, we're gonna connect the OBD connection. You'll notice it's up under the dash here. It looks exactly the same as this, so you're gonna have a white connection with two clips on either side, and you're gonna need to depress those clips to release it from the metal frame. Can be a little bit tricky. Okay, gotten that out. So once you get that out, you'll see the OBD connection. You can plug it in just as we did in the other steps. You'll hide that section away, back up. And plug the OBD back in the way it was. All right, so I'm gonna save you a lot of time. Most installations will tell you you have to take the glove box out to get to the TPMS connector behind it. To save you a ton of time, you have the glove box, you have the airbag here, and then you have a plastic piece beneath it. You have some clips here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and if you go ahead and push them back with a flathead screwdriver, you'll notice you can pop this piece right down and out. And now I forced the TPMS connector over from the driver's side to this side, and we're gonna go ahead and plug that in. Now the TPMS module, if you look up under here, and we'll have another picture for you, but if you see the airbag wire here is yellow, you're gonna see a gray box back up above it. The gray box is the TPMS connector. You're gonna unplug it like we've done all the other connections and plug it right back in there. All right, so now we'll go over the connection and the programming of the StartX module. You'll notice some connections here. You have the large white connection, which provides power, and that's important. You're gonna be connecting this white connection here, and on the opposite side, you'll be connecting the red and smaller white over here. You'll notice there's a small black button over here on this side. That's your programming button. You're gonna go ahead and press and hold that in as you connect that first main ignition harness. So go ahead and hold that button in and connect the harness, and you'll notice the lights start to go through a series. Blue, red, yellow, red and blue. Blue, red, yellow. Want to stop at red and blue. Once the lights are red and blue, let go of it, and you'll notice that they stay red and blue. At this point, you can go ahead and make sure that all of your connections are in all the way, and go ahead and plug in the other connections we have here. The white connection, the red connection, and the smaller white connection. Now you have everything connected, and in the red and blue state, go ahead and press the programming button twice, once, twice, and you'll notice the lights go off. You'll go ahead and take the key for the car and turn it to the on position. You'll see the lights start to blink fast. And once just the blue light blinks fast, programming is complete to the car. Once you've seen this blue light only flashing for a few seconds, then you can go ahead and turn the ignition back off to the car, and programming should be complete. All right, so now that your module is programmed, we'll just show you, there's a lot of space up back in here. I just like to tuck the module back and use some of the supplied zip ties. You can hang it right next to the other computer modules for the vehicle right back in here. And your installation of the StartX module is complete. Go ahead and take the factory key fob and press lock 3 times. And it'll go into remote start mode. And to go ahead and turn off the remote start, repeat the same sequence 3 times.